Storylines everywhere after a Super Saturday of football. The Hawks keep their top two hopes alive, beating the Eagles in a WA Classic. Superstar forward Josh Kennedy joins the show. Inspirational skipper Joel Selwood thrusts the Cats into the top 8 with a stirring performance. Stevie J's on the show to dissect the win. And the Doggies' unbelievable season continues as the lights get turned out on the Powers season. Star Mitch Wallace is in the house, while Ben Reid shines in his return, leading the Maggies to victory over the arch-enemy. Levi Casbolt drops by. No Deledio, no Richmond. No worries for the Crows, their hope's still alive. Gun ruckman Sam Jacobs joins the show. Plus, the Lions have one hand on the first pick as the Suns win bragging rights in the Q Clash. Oh yes, cop that and a lot more. It'll be on for young and old this morning on your Sunday Footy Show. Good morning. Whips are cracking in the top 8, top 4, top 2. Big show ahead and a cast of plenty to tell you all about this morning, including the Norm Smith medalist Stevie J, who's in for Bill Brownless. Welcome, Stevie. National Nathan Brown's along for the ride. Damien Barrett, who rolls with Prime Ministers these days, is here. Matthew Lloyd, the five-time All-Australian, and Luke Ball, the Collingwood Premiership star, here as well. And we've all sat and watched and loved this round of football as we take a look at what's gone down. Adelaide in the big one Friday night. Collingwood back on track yesterday in the Peter Mac Cup. The Bulldogs, have they emerged? Fourth spot right now, and they thrashed Port Adelaide yesterday. Gold Coast over Brisbane in the Q Clash. Hawthorn in an epic over West Coast. And Geelong are emerging and building. They beat the Swans last night in Adam Goods' return to football. 1v2 in the West. They play each other next week. It'll be massive. Hawthorn moving. They're only 2 points off. The Bulldogs, the story of the AFL season, in fourth. They've leapfrogged Sydney, who are out the door in premiership markets. Richmond, Geelong, Adelaide in a tussle. And heaving their way towards the 8 today will be North Melbourne. Collingwood still technically alive, but very, very doubtful. Giants and Port. Ditto, and Port, one of the disappointments of the season. It was the biggest disappointment yesterday, Port versus the biggest success story in the Western Bulldogs. But last night, Matthew Lloyd, Hawthorn and West Coast in what was a finals preview and an unbelievable game of footy with the Hawks getting there.
Yeah, Hutchie, the heavyweights went at it after.
This guy wouldn't get a game in any other team. It was unbelievable. He stepped up again last night, Sam Mitchell. When the going was tough, they were 23 points down in the third term. His numbers last night were fantastic. He understood the conditions last night. 36 possessions, but 738 metres gained. 200 more than any other player on the night. He understood the conditions. He's normally a quick handball fire player, kicked more than any other night I've seen him last night, and he turned the tide for Hawthorn.
Great point, Brownie. I think that's you're right. I've seen him just kick long. I've never seen him kick long like this in a game, and also thought Cyril was really important on his 150th game.
Lord, you're listening to Alistair Clarkson speak post-match. You could just tell that this win was a very special one for him and his players. And across town, the other coach, Adam Simpson, though, was left lamenting the fact that his team came up very short.
Yeah, there was plenty of spirit in tonight's victory. You know, we didn't play particularly well, but we found a way to win. Really good opponent, really difficult environment to play, really tough conditions. Yeah, we enjoyed it after the game, and it was well deserved.
Mixed emotions. I thought we did throw everything at them, but it wasn't good enough in the end, was it? So. We're disappointed in the loss, but I think we'll take some confidence out of the game. And we dealt a bit of adversity tonight, but when the game was up for grabs, we didn't take the opportunity. So we're disappointed, but we're also positive about where we're at.
The West Coast Eagles were beaten by the ultimate professionals, and let's take a look at the scoreline in the second quarter. They were on the ropes here, Hawthorn, 34-16. I just thought there was a moment here where the Eagles web, we see it, they just got him out of position through quick handball. You see them all set up through team ethos of Hawthorn. Watch this, show makers. He sees a mismatch. He blocks Schofield. Schofield's putting his arms up in the air, but in the blink of an eye, they go from being on the ropes to being level, and took the ascendancy away from the West Coast Eagles. They're a brilliant side.
Well done, Matthew. No Nick Nat must be said last night, Luke.
Yeah, big out, wasn't he? Even the conditions, big blokes like that don't get any smaller, do they? So, yeah, obviously devastating circumstances around his omission, but hopefully they get him back next week for the derby.
Hutchie, after a week out of footy, Adam Woods returned. It was down at Geelong, and the reception to him after the booing that had become all too common was very, very good last time. This is pre-match, and him just getting ready for the game, and there'd been a lot of build-up to it, Stevie. Obviously, you weren't on the field, but you were in the stands. It came across on a TV screen really respectful.
Yeah, it was a delicate situation, and I'm not sure I think everyone was nervous as to what was going to happen, but as you said, I think he was treated fairly and respectfully, and that's what the town spoke about through the week, and that's certainly how he was received.
Do we think now that that's it, that this is going to be the norm? I really sincerely hope it is from now on.
I think it's been a good outcome for footy, hasn't it? We've got,
it seems to be.
I think everyone's matured over the last couple of weeks, which is great.
I'd agree with that. Hey, Steve, I want to talk to you about the Cats. The last month, 4 in a row, and you've beaten the Western Bulldogs, who we all know how good their form is, and also Sydney last night. What do you believe's changed in the last month to where you were when you got belted by North Melbourne?
Yeah, well, I think we've had a real emphasis on our defence. I think against North Melbourne, they scored about 120 points against us. So after that, we spoke about a little bit of tinkering with the way we defended, and since then, the last month, playing some pretty good sides. I think that the most that's been scored against us is 64. So that's been a real shift for us.
Do you, in your mind, still think you're a contender?
Yeah, I think you have to, but certainly, if you had asked me a month ago, I would have said, look, we're a long way behind, but I feel like we're starting to really gel together. More games for the younger players, and look, anything's possible. We've got a huge challenge against Hawthorn next week, and that'll be another good indicator as to where we're at. Stevie,
tell us about your skipper. Played his 200th game last night. Talk us through the impact he's made on Geelong over many years.
Oh, you could just see by the way, he was received by the crowd. They just love him. He's an inspirational player. Obviously, he just leads from the front. His reputation amongst his peers is just about unrivalled. And, as you say, he gets carried off the ground here. I've never seen anything like that down at Geelong.
And fireworks for him, Stephen.
Yeah, there was fireworks, and I don't think a person actually left the ground. It was amazing just to see everyone standing up and cheering him. Just shows how much they love him.
That was the real Joel Selwood last night. He played a fantastic game. His first half of the year wasn't his best. What do you think the turnaround's come from in him? Did he put too much pressure on himself early?
No, I think he was sort of up and down, but I think the development of those players around him has certainly helped. Guthrie, Blitzovs, Caddy's his form's really picked up the last month. He's been averaging around 30 touches for the last month, so that takes a bit of heat off him. And certainly, you're right, he's coming good at the right time of the year.
Chris Scott, the coach, spoke about Joel after the game.
The thing we love about the best players in the comp is they stand up against the best teams when it really matters. And I'm not getting carried away with his game tonight, but if we didn't have him, we wouldn't have won.
The Western Bulldogs moved into the top 4 last night, and a lot of people are saying, can they stay there? I reckon they'll win 3 of the next 4 games, the Dogs, but Sydney probably can win 4 of their games. Are they a premiership chance, the Dogs? I'm not sure this year. I think they're elite in their forward line. They've got some really good defenders across half-back. They're not elite in their midfield yet. These names, Wallace, Hunter, McRae, Dalhouse, Bontempelli, all young. Give them 12 months and they are going to be a very, very good midfield, but I don't think they bat deep enough in their midfield just yet. But I think it's a fantastic effort where they are right now.
But sometimes the moment doesn't come again. Sometimes the moment is right now. And while I understand what you're saying about in 12 months' time, maybe even 24 months' time, they'll be better, they may not be better placed than later at this time of the season in those following seasons. So
Port Adelaide's learnt that.
Yeah, I was going to say, tell that to the team they played yesterday, last year. That's possibly what they believe this year, and I agree with you, Dame. I think we get Mitch Wallace in here soon to talk about it. I think they are going well enough at the moment, their midfield.
Do you think they're a premiership chance? Do you think they can win the premiership?
I think if they finish in the top 4, I think they can. I think their midfield's going. I think their confidence is up. They're going well enough. Will Minson's been kept out of the side at the moment by 2 hungry ruckmen. And they're doing all this, Hutchie, we spoke about off air, without their best and fairest winner in Tom Liberatore last year.
Do you have a concern, though, that can they transfer that out to the elements at the MCG, Perth, where they may have to go in the first
It's a good
week?
point. It's a good point. They have played. They do play very well at their home ground at Etihad under the roof. So that's time will
Give
tell.
Them 12 months. Give them 12 months. And the inclusion of Redpath in the last few weeks. There was talk about them looking at Jake Carlisle, but Redpath kicked 4 last night. He is a ready-made start. That forward line they've got running at the moment is just a great mix of footballers.
And no Tom Boyd in the side at the moment. The AFL indicating they may get a final at Etihad if they finish 5th or 6th, which would be unbelievable. Now, Port Adelaide were terrible. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Ken Hinkley conceded as much after the game.
We've been really consistent with our effort, and today our effort wasn't nowhere near good enough. We were physically and mentally beaten up today by a young, exciting team. When you play like you're just trying to hang on, eventually you're going to crumble, and we crumbled today.
Lordo, they've escaped the scrutiny, I reckon, Port Adelaide this year. They've been awful. They were terrible yesterday. Loby's on a 5-year contract, got 2 possessions. Broadbent on a 4-year contract in and out of the team. Have they got complacent? They've contracted these guys for long periods, thinking they were right there.
They pick and choose, Hutchie, at the moment. So they don't want to defend. They conceded, I think, 17 goals in a shootout against the Bombers. They conceded in a shootout against the Adelaide Crows. Conceded again last night. And I think he hit the nail on the head after the game. Hinkley, he said, we played against a united collective group in the Bulldogs. And pretty much that's not what they are at the moment.
Hutchie, they're also absolute bursting point with their salary cap. They haven't got anywhere near the amount of money that Jay Schultz has been after. And we also now know that they are interested in getting into the race with Charlie Dixon. It was going to be a big offer over a number of years. It's causing problems, that Jay Schultz situation. Liam Pickering, his manager yesterday, just went behind the scenes on what it's causing.
Be a pretty poor form, in my view, if that's the way they went, Port Adelaide. But anyway, we'll see what happens. There are a number of clubs that have got interest in Schultz, but where he ends up, if he doesn't... look, I think he'll be at Port Adelaide. Look, I'd be very, very confident he'll be at Port Adelaide. So you don't let a bloke walk out the door as good as him. He's in their leadership group.
But have they got the money for him, Damo? If Dixon goes there, surely it's Jay Schultz's money.
Oh, it has to be. They can't both be in that same team, given that Schultz wants more than he's currently on, and at this stage they're nowhere near what he wants. So yeah, but it's just another, I suppose, layer of the problems that Port Adelaide have got. They recruited for the now, and I love it when clubs do, but when it blows up in their face like it has, it leaves you in a pretty ordinary position list-wise.
Collingwood broke a 6-match losing streak yesterday. It wasn't their best performance. They had some great games from Swan and Pendlebury, but this man, Bally, Ben Reid, you would have seen him and played with him a lot. Premiership teammate of Ben's.
Premiership player, Lordy, so you couldn't say he's been too hard done by in his first 100 games, but he has done it the hard way. His last couple of years have just been wrecked with injury, and it was great to see him out there yesterday. His hands, he's always been a terrific contested mark, and his hands are in good form. He's had a good month in the reserve, so credit to the Pies for holding him back till he was in good enough form. But yeah, let's hope his next 100 games are a little bit more fortunate than his first 100.
I was thinking if they get some luck, Stevie, next year, if they could have Reid and Cloak together, Darcy Moore as the third floater, and then Elliott and Fasolo, be a pretty good forward line.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm not too sure what you think, Bally, but would you play Reid as a forward if they had more developing the way he has been?
It's interesting. I would. My personal view is he's a better defender, Steve. And when we won the premiership, Reid was terrific at centre half back. I think through necessity at the moment he's had to go forward. But from my understanding, throughout this year they plan on him playing back as well. So. We'll see if Travis is back this week. We'll see what happens with him. He might go back, and they play Sydney this week, so he might have to go and play.
He's going to play forward for the rest of the year, which will be...
I have said that.
Yeah, good to have a look at.
A couple of days ago now, but Adelaide certified themselves as genuine finals contenders. I guess they popped Richmond's bubble in a sense with a big win the other night, but it probably should have been a 12 or 14 goal win. 71 inside 50s is absolutely massive. The most Richmond has ever conceded in their history, and Richmond would be pretty disappointed. But Adelaide, I can see them winning 3 of the next 4 games, Adelaide, and finishing with 14 wins.
They had an amazing win 7 days ago or 8 days ago, Richmond, but then I thought Hardwick got too cute on Friday night. I was disappointed with his coaching because the first bounce, Jack Riewoldt, back of the square, centre half back. When you're a forward and the coach comes to you and says, play it centre half back, and your man is just standing in the, waiting for you to come through in Talia, and you're getting all these possessions in the backline wing for the first 20 minutes of the game. I think he took the instinct away from Riewoldt, and they had no Delidio either.
I reckon Daniel Talia would have been happy with that.
Exactly. How wrapped would they have been, Stevie, if Tex Walker was doing that down the other end? Just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it was a little bit strange, but sometimes teams do that. They start a forward off the back of the square, and generally you push really hard forward. But I think Riewoldt was up there for maybe 10, 15 minutes. Which
different of his buddy Franklin with the pace that he's got. But the big out was Brett Delidio the other night, and we'll have a look at a board of how many games without Brett Delidio. Last 13 games without Delidio, they've won 2 and they've lost 11. Before the game the other night on 3AW, Lloydie, as soon as we found out Delidio was out, a few of us changed our tips towards Adelaide. We don't know why. It was just a feeling that we had that Delidio out, Adelaide would win.
Righto, things that caught your eye from the weekend. Stevie, this is where we try and be a little bit humorous, so get us off to a flyer. It's very important to get out of the gates here, because otherwise it sinks the whole thing.
We all know you've got to be pretty tough to play football these days, and actually, for that matter, you've got to be pretty tough to umpire. You see there, the umpire gets absolutely crunched. Here's Aaron Hall last night. He slams himself into the post, and Teddy Richards last night. That's probably the biggest falcon we've seen so far this year.
All right, not bad. Not bad. Not great, but not bad.
Well, Dane Swan, my old teammate, turned the clock back yesterday. Hutchie had 41 possessions, 22 kicks, but this wasn't one of his better ones, and took me back, reminded me, talking about turning the clock back to one of the greats of Collingwood, and it's probably the worst kick since Mickey McGuire had a bit of a mare on the day where he decided to have an injection in his groin. He had an excuse here. I'm not sure Swanee did.
I thought you were going to show Eddie. I thought,
No, I wouldn't do that to the old Pres.
You've both won premierships. You won a premiership. You wouldn't have memorabilia hanging up at your house to have a look at yourself every day.
No.
My management shares an office with Craig Hutchinson's management. And I checked in to see the big fella the other day in his office. I popped my head in. He wasn't in there, and I just had to have a double take. I wasn't sure if I thought what I saw on the wall was actually it, so I popped my head back in, and this is what I saw above his office. Have a look at him promoting you run around Fitzy, mate. What AFL player didn't run around Fitzy when he played AFL?
when you've kicked the greatest goal in the history of the game, come and talk to me.
And you were high-fiving Strawny in one of the photos too. But there must have been a power outage in Sydney during the week because there was a big fashion event. Buddy Franklin was there to watch Jacinta Campbell. How he could roll up in those shoes, Paulie.
They're real top of the range.
Come on, buddy. No wonder you're not playing at the moment.
Actually, just one more thing before we go. It's caught my eye this morning. It might have caught your eye at home as well. Now, it's been a cold, wet, miserable winter. We all feel a bit miserable and pacey at the moment. We sort of grin and bear it, don't we? We get through it. We look forward to summer. Well, some of us take matters in our own hands, though, including, and again, I'm not sure if you've noticed, including one of our esteemed panel members. Has anyone on this panel had a spray tan in the last...
I went to Bali on Monday. I got back yesterday.
You've had
Has
a
anyone
spray
on this
tan?
panel had a spray tan?
You've had a spray tan?
Hey?
That is shocking.
I went to Bali.
There's been no flights in and out of Bali.
What you don't know is that we had secret cameras down at the spray tan venue, and we caught Brownie in the act. And
Here's one from me. Big moments in Australian sporting history. They come from everywhere to pay tribute. Those who are really close, Michael Clark's wife was first on Instagram. Prime Minister, everyone that knows him well tries to get a bit of the fame. Including someone on this panel, Matthew Lloyd, on Twitter this morning. Brilliant career at M. Clark 23. You've been a pleasure to watch over many years, and I hope you go out with one last sentence. He doesn't know who the hell you are, Lordo. Stop trying to make it about you.
It's about Michael Clark, not Matthew Lloyd.
He tweeted me when I retired.
That's just embarrassing. Stay out of it.
He's not an NRL player.
I respect him.
Embarrassing. That's one of those shocking attempts at gain followers. Unbelievable. Right, just get your own followers. Right, Josh Kennedy to join us next from the West Coast Eagles on a big Sunday footy show. Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. Big game last night in Perth, no question about that. It was on for young and old, and Hawthorn came from behind Matthew Lloyd in a very impressive 14-point win.
They did, Hutchie. Great game. Two brilliant sides will be there come preliminary final weekend. They got off to a flyer, the West Coast Eagles, but Hawthorn reeled them in. Mitchell was phenomenal. And so was our guest today over from Perth, Josh Kennedy, kicked 4 goals in a really good battle with James Frawley. Thanks for joining us, Josh. Disappointing night last night. What did you take out of that loss to the two-time reigning premiers?
Yeah, look, it's always a challenge playing against Hawthorn. They're the benchmark of the competition, and I think we fought it out pretty well. But like you said, with towards the end there, Mitchell and guys like Sirioli and their key players really stood up, and they were able to get the 4 points.
You look back on the game, is there moments in that second quarter, there was a couple of missed opportunities, do you believe that it was a game
off season, but no, if it is getting sore, then they might do something with it. But I saw the surgeon last night after the game, and he said it's all pretty clear.
And Josh, the good thing is it's a disappointing loss, but next week you've got a huge challenge against Fremantle, which is shaping as the winner could be a top 2 team at the end of the year. So it's probably the biggest derby you've had in history, I would have thought.
Yeah, definitely, just especially for our playing group. So, the last 3 or 4 years, Freo have had it over us, and we haven't been able to get a derby win. And now we're both up the top and playing some good footy. It's going to be a real challenge, and it's always a challenge against Freo. And now we're all pretty excited, so we're all going to be up and about this week and looking forward to playing against Freo.
Josh, no Nick Naitanui last night, the sad news of his family bereavement and his mother, and I thought this was a fitting tribute before the game, a minute's silence in the rooms from the Eagles players. Can you step us through this moment?
Yeah, look, it's terrible news for Nick and his family, and he found out obviously on Friday, and we're all pretty shattered for him. I think he's back in Fiji now, and Simo just wanted to get the group together just before our team meeting and just reflect on a moment on Nick and what him and his family would be going through, and it was nice that we could get down there and do that before we went into, I suppose, the game.
And you might be with one out of your great forwards next week, Mark Lacroix, the Frenchman.
Moments before that, and then I think Let come in, and I don't know whether he's trying to protect his body or not, but I don't know. I suppose that's up to the match review panel to have a look at that this week.
And there was a contentious decision late, Josh. You might not want to comment on this one, error with the boundary umpire. I have to look at it one more time.
You can see he's right there, so you'd have to argue that no one's got a better view than him, but I don't know, maybe he thought that the whole ball has to be over the line, doesn't he? So he gave him the benefit of the doubt. I know you'd like to see that be let play on, Hutchie, in those situations.
And last one, Josh, from me, just on the top 2 spot, just the value it gives you to have those finals, those 2 finals, hopefully in Perth. Obviously, it was something you'd be striving towards.
Oh, definitely, yeah. We always wanted to just beat our win record from last year, and now we're in a position where we have, and we just want to finish as high as we can. But obviously, a top 2 spot for us would be ideal because we get 2 home finals, which will be awesome. So look, we've got Freo this week, and hopefully we can match it against them, and we'll see how we go.
All right, your vote, Slaughter?
Yeah, my vote's Hutchie, Sam Mitchell.
And Josh, this is the best prize pack in the business, the TaylorMade driver, the R15 driver from TaylorMade, made of greatness. You've also won the Aquila shoes and clothing, a $250 voucher for shoes and clothing there. Home Timber and Hardware, if you get around the house, a $100 gift voucher thanks to Home Timber and Hardware. Go with the tradies go. The King Chrome Tools, a 13-piece screwdriver set, the 30-piece Santa set, one of them, I can't remember which one it was. The Bar Fridge from Bar Fridges Australia. It's a new prize this year. It's a beauty. The Hotel Brighton, it's a fantastic $100 voucher down there. Chemist Warehouse, it's Oral Health Month at Chemist Warehouse, so celebrate with a big O Regiment kit for only $79.99, and maybe they could throw in a razor.
You've got a pub.
And the Nana Judy clothing, new to this year's $150 gift voucher.
Josh, appreciate your time. Good luck for the finals.
Sounds good.
Good luck for the finals and for the
guys.
Coleman medal. You look destined. Well done. Josh Kennedy joining us from Western. I never quite get those timings right with the delay, but we'll get there. Right, the Chemist Warehouse injury report. Here again is National Nathan Brown.
Dylan Grimes did his knee. He was subbed out of the game at half-time, and he'll have scans this week. It didn't look good, so they've got a 9-day break, the Tigers. So Jeremy Govan came off with a hamstring. He's done it a couple of times now. I'd imagine that he'll miss at least 2, maybe 3 hamstring. You don't want to muck around with that leading into finals. And Jake Stringer, he injured at his arm, but came back late in the third quarter, returned to the field. He's pretty tough. He came back from a broken leg, which have to be extraordinarily tough to do. So Jake Stringer should be no problem to come back next week.
He came back at least half the player he was too.
That's not bad for you.
Well done to Jake and well done everyone. Now, speaking of the Bulldogs, Mitch Wallace is probably the most improved player in the Bulldogs team, maybe in the competition, and he joins us next on your Sunday Footy Show. Dogs are barking in the...
Between them, Dixon kicked through as well. Matty Boyd again off half-back. Lockie Hunter coming into his own. McRae had 30. Schultz kicked a couple, Wingard. But Port, apart from the first 3 goals, they're very much unsighted after that. And I welcome probably a man who's winning the Western Bulldogs best and fairest at the moment and having his best year as Mitch Wallace. Welcome to the show, and must be pretty exciting. He's getting into top 4 last night, and the Dogs are back.
Yeah, it's going well at the moment. They threw the ladder up on the scoreboard after the game, and the crowd went crazy, and I was pretty happy with it as well. But it's a week-by-week thing. We've got another big challenge this weekend in Melbourne. They got us a couple of months ago, so it's time to get one back for them.
Every player we've had from the Dogs this year who's come in, they felt like they've been let off the chain. We've had Picken, spoken to a lot of guys, Easton Wood, and you yourself. You were a tagger last year, getting a lot more of the football yourself this year, not tagging, and your game has gone to an elite status.
Yeah, and Bevo's really big on even contribution. So the 22 of us on the weekend and in previous weeks have all played their role, and I've really enjoyed the licence that I've been given. Obviously, did learn a lot from my tagging days, but I was happy to get the new lease on life. It's not as fun, but it's part of development. A lot of players go through it, and I did learn a lot of things.
Did you ever tag Stevie?
I didn't go near Stevie, no.
Mitch, tell us about your coach and your relationship with him. He seems to have just had an amazing impact on the whole group, but do you have a relationship yourself with him?
Yeah, great. And we had a conversation as soon as he got to the club. He was very, very transparent with what he expected of me and what role I was going to play. But mate, he's a great guy. He's changed so much of the fabric of the club and the direction we're heading. And the players are really responding well to his messages and his mantra.
What about the layers of a game style? Like, I look at, say, Paul Roos. It's been so hard for him. He's trying to get the defence right, and then other teams can attack, but they can't defend. Why has it happened so quickly for the Western Bulldogs?
I'm not sure. It was ingrained in us through Macca in the contested ball area, so that was always a tick. But I think it was just a belief in the side and belief in our game style and the way we're meant to go about it. Obviously, our defence has improved. I think Bevo made a point yesterday that there's been a 28-point swing in us scoring, obviously 8 more points, but our defence is 20 points down. So that's a massive swing, and it's a real credit to all the players, but all the coaching staff who've done a great job with all the players.
We noted last week too, there's about 10 guys in your team that have probably gone back to play VFL football. Like, Crameri's been back there, Minson's back there at the moment, Jack McRae's been dropped, Boyd at the moment, so he's keeping everyone honest as well.
Yeah, and it's a great standard for the group. It's tougher spots, and you want that at any time of the year, but especially going late into the season. So everyone, like you said, every spot's up for grabs, and it's hard to solidify one.
And Mitch, Lockie Hunter, his form over the last 3 weeks has been unbelievable. Obviously, he's played a lot of VFL footy at the start of this year. What's been the turnaround for him? And do you think he was capable of racking up those sort of numbers at AFL level?
Yeah, I played with Lockie. He went to St Kevin's, so I played with Lockie when he was a bit younger, and he always had this skill and this aerobic capacity. It was always within him, and it was just whether he got it on the front foot and started playing well. And he like you said, in the last 3 weeks, he's had 30 touches or more, so he's going really well, and he's a really important cog in the Bulldogs chain at the moment. He's playing a great role on the wing and up forward.
Tell us about Jack Redpath. Kicked 4 goals in the last quarter yesterday. I was super impressed with how well he moved laterally. And he's such a big man. Didn't really get the ball coming straight up, but his lateral movement and then a couple of contested marks, he's going to be a player.
Mate, he's going to be a player, and he's worked really hard, and he's one of those ones that had his stint in the VFL during the year. But 4 1/4. He's a strong lad, obviously. Big hands, big arms, and once he gets on a lead, he's so powerful and hard. And contested marking is one of his strengths, so it's going to be a
You said
good
his
bloke
hands were like 2 of yours.
Oh, mate, 2 of mine. We call him Shrek, mate. He's seriously, he's huge. But he's, like I said, another really important part of our team, and going forward, it's going to be a real pillar for us.
Got a great mix of young and old at the moment, but the young blokes yesterday was a great passage of play here, actually, where they all linked up. And Mitch, you must be enjoying the locker room at the moment with all the guys around your age playing really good footy.
Yeah, no, it is exciting, and to be sort of started on that journey together. We've played a couple of years now, and obviously, hopefully we can keep going and achieve bigger and better things.
And Mitch, Easton Wood, he must work really hard on his game. I've played on him, the last couple of years, and I always thought he had the attributes. He was more of an athlete than a footballer, but this season he's taken his game to a new level, and he's probably in all-Australian form, the way he reads the play and takes intercept marks.
Yeah, and you know you're going to get the same from him every week. His marking has improved out of sight, but just the confidence in his own ability. You said his athletic ability, and some of the marks he takes, I'm not sure how many mark the year attempts he's had, but he's so important again to our side. We set a lot of our drives forward or off the back of him intercepting the ball, and he puts his body on the line every contest. So he's a vital part of our team, and I love playing with him. He's a great teammate.
Bit of a bruise-free game yesterday. I'm not sure whether you needed this steam bath at the end of it. What are you doing there? What's that about?
No, that's a shocking photo. That was back in the day, trying to get the edge. I think it's called a cryo sauna, and it's meant to rapidly cool down your body. No, it worked. It was good. It was great.
And use fresh hairdo now.
And you had a bit of a go at Hutchie yesterday with your banner. Let's have a look at the banner yesterday. Bulldogs, never in doubt. Port tastes yuck and gives you gout. So it's something you've had a bit of trouble with over your time.
Crispy. See, that went over trade.
Actually,
laugh.
Your skipper's had a real problem with gout over the years as well. So I thought when they put General Saunas down for Robert Murphy that he might have had that gout back.
Yeah, no, he's had a terrific year as well. There's nothing really wrong with him. He's getting on a bit Murph, so they were just resting him. He's played every game this year, so time he could put the feet up on the weekend.
Lordo's not funny, but I'll tell you what was funny. It was old man Croft when he completely got stitched up. Let's take a look back at Mitch Wallace on old man Croft.
Walter? Who's it?
It's Mitch Wallace and Jake Stringer.
Terry Wallace. Terry Wallace?
No, Steve's son, Mitch Wallace.
Close though.
Close. How you doing?
Terry Wallace?
Terry Wallace? Nah, Mitch Wallace.
Who?
Jake Stringer? Mitch Wallace?
It's the 5th time you've said our name.
Yeah. Well, I'm just making sure.
You had no idea?
Oh, mate, I'm glad you guys got a kick out of it because I was rattled for hours after that. But, mate, I owe Jackie big time. Yeah. He was in on it, obviously, and yeah, it did rattle me for a few hours.
Did you? Here we go.
Oh my God.
Did you think he was genuinely dying here?
I thought I genuinely killed him, yeah. And I'm glad I didn't run out and make a fool of myself, but...
You got a plan to get him back, mate? Judd?
Yeah, I have to. I've told the media manager any time that something like this comes up. Jeez, I was so relieved when he ran in there.
Well done. It was absolutely fantastic. Magnificent. Some votes from the game. I think it was you, Nash.
Yeah, it was all Bulldogs. Mitch Wallace was fantastic. Gave him 8, not just because he came in, he was very good. Boydie was great off the half-back line. Bontempelli just did everything right. And Jakey Stringer, another 4 goals. Probably could have kicked 7 or 8 yesterday if he had a kick straight.
I want to ask you about a player, and it's amazing. You just showed the highlights of all the young dogs coming through, but the trials of Libba. You know, you two have come through together. It was Liberatore Wallace, and we hear he's had some troubles and he can't enjoy the fruits of the Bulldogs this year. How's he going at the moment?
He's going really well. He's coming on his rehab. He's beginning to run, which is really good. But he's a vital part of our team, and he was our best player last year. So we really want him to come back. And you know, he's a really big spiritual leader at the club. The way he goes about it, he puts his body on the line every week.
Were you worried about him there for a while?
I wouldn't say worried. I know it's best when he's playing footy. So the quicker he gets back and the quicker he's playing and helping out the team in that sense, the better it'll be for him. But he's been massive this year in taking meetings and being, like I said, the spiritual leader around the place.
Appreciate you coming in. Good luck. It's September. Must be starting to be on your mind a little bit.
Not just yet.
Is your dad excited?
Dad is excited.
Is he selling a few more cars?
He's going right.
Thanks, Mitch. Mitch Wallace joining us. What a great footy pedigree he comes from too. Levi Casbolt of the Blues up next on your Sunday Footy Show. Two great teams and a great showcase for the competition and for Geelong's skills too. They're on the...
It was outstanding last night, 35 disposals. Hawkins kicked 4 goals. There's Mackie. He gets us off to the start with the first goal of the game from 50 out. The Swans, it was a close game for the first half. Here we see Darcy Lang kick his first of his 2 goals, a snap from the boundary. We got away to a really good start, but the Swans come back. Here's Heaney, he takes a nice mark over Cockatoo. This was the moment when you thought, you know, what is the crowd, how are they going to react? And I think they appreciate good football. Adam Goods kicked a fantastic goal there and the crowd gave a massive cheer.
Stevie, it was an arm wrestle in the first half, 8 goals to 1 after half-time. What do you believe changed the game?
Yeah, I think early on in the game, Lloydie, you know, the Swans kicked goals on the back of turnovers, so I think we just needed to tighten up our ball use and you know, and use the football a little bit smarter. We were able to get the ball in the forward half a lot more and keep it in there and pressure and kick turnover goals ourselves.
You didn't have a great day or night last night, Stevie, but is Josh Walker almost settled now as that second key target up forward there alongside the Tomahawk?
Yeah, well, we sent him last week, Bally. He against Brisbane. We've seen what he's capable of. He kicked five goals and took some big clunks. Last night, probably a little bit disappointing that he couldn't back it up from his point of view, but yeah, I mean, he's got an opportunity for the coming weeks, that's for sure.
It was a real even performance last night. You had 8 players ranging from 20 to 26 possessions. So when you get in that amount of players through the midfield chipping in, you obviously had Joel Selwood at 35, but when you got that second rung of players all being able to influence the game, it makes it a lot easier for everybody around the fringes.
Yeah, we spoke about it earlier, Nath. I think the likes of Blitzers, you see Caddy there who kicks a goal late in the game, that was probably the sealer Those guys are really stepping up, and it's making it easier for Joel Selwood to play his best football.
What about the ruck department, Stevie? You got away with it last night because the Swans have had their issues there. Going forward, making a push towards the finals. Can you rely on Blitzarves to play in the ruck, or what's the status of Simpson and a few of these other guys?
Yeah, Simpson's been playing VFL. He had a shoulder setback probably 6 weeks ago, right when we probably needed him to come in. But look, he's an option there if we need him. Blitzarves has carried a lot of the ruck duties and does make the opposition defend really hard. And he's such a phenomenal runner that he makes them defend, and he's good with his ball use. So it'll be interesting, but there is a couple of options there.
Now, you were watching last night with Kolodjasny's tackle. Talk us through it. We're going to show it on the screen now. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there certainly wasn't any booze towards Adam Goodes, but the biggest cheer of the night probably came when Adam Goodes was involved, and that was a beautiful tackle there by Jake Kolodjasny. He's a developing young player, and as you see, Chris Scott was extremely happy with that. So
it was good. Great moment in the game for a young player. But I want to ask you about Motlop. The Western Bulldogs game was the turnaround for him, and he's put together a month of unbelievable football. What was going wrong for him earlier in the year to have such a lean patch and then be so good for this month?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put a finger on exactly what it was, Lloydie, but I think in the last month he's certainly spent a lot more time through the midfield. I think on the weekend he started in the centre bounce, and if he can get his hands on the footy early and feel like he's really involved in the game, when he goes forward he's then a lot more dangerous. And, I think his running power, we're seeing how much running power he's actually got. When he gets going and he feels like he's in the game, he's very hard to stop.
Stevie, your votes from last night for the Cats and the Swans?
Yeah, so I thought Joel Selwood in his 200th game was absolutely outstanding. Probably a little bit stiff not to get the 9. Motlop, again, probably for the 3rd or 4th week in a row in the votes. I thought Lewis Jetta was the best player for Sydney. He kicked 2 crucial goals in the second quarter and really got them back into the game. And Tommy Hawkins, well, he just provided a target for the Cats all night. Booted 4 goals. Probably the difference.
Massive one for you next week, Hawthorn. You're 250th. You weren't there last night because of the incident with Tom Rockcliffe last weekend. One game.
It was Alan Christensen.
Christensen.
Yeah.
What happened here? Were you squirrel gripped?
Oh, look, I'm not going to go into the details as to why I threw it, other than to say I was a little bit provoked under that pack. Look, it is what it is. I copped my 1 week, and I'm glad that the boys were able to get up last night, and I'll hopefully come back really fresh against Hawthorn next week.
Were you annoyed at being provoked, Steve?
Oh, I certainly was. Otherwise, I wouldn't have reacted the way I did. But I did, and that's the disappointing thing. And
was it Christensen that provoked you, or was it Rockcliffe?
I'm not too sure. I couldn't see what was happening under there, but I don't think it was, let's put it this way, I don't think it was Christensen. So he was the unfortunate party in that.
Why didn't you appeal? Why didn't you appeal under that? Could you have got the second week?
Oh, no, I think you've seen what happened. I reacted the wrong way. I threw a punch. You're not allowed to do that, whether you're provoked or whether you're not. And, I have to cop it on the chin.
Because I believe if that did happen, Hutchie, that he's entitled to provocation that he could have got off. That's the risk, obviously, Steve takes if he could have got a second week. But if that did happen, he's fully entitled to react that way.
If you're provoked that way, that's a pretty horrible thing to happen to you on the footy field, isn't it?
I mean, you can make your own assessment of what you think it is. But, as I said, I've got to take responsibility for it. It's not the type of action you like to see from anybody, whether you're provoked or not. And, look, I'm happy to move on from it.
Can't go handling a man's plums.
No, not at all. This is what Chris Scott had to say during the week.
The reality is, once again, we're without him for an important game, which is very disappointing. But our conversations around those issues have always been, I'd like to think, well balanced. But he's under no illusions that that sort of action hurts the team, and he needs to find a way to help the team in the next couple of weeks to make up for it.
Well, I'm sure you'll be straight back in for your milestone, but it comes against a backdrop of your future when you've seemingly got to convince the club to give you another deal. Do you think they'll give you another contract?
I'm not too sure, Hutchie. As I've stated in the last couple of weeks, I'm really excited by the list that we've got at the moment and the development of our younger players. I think the club's in a really good position. I'm really keen to play some good footy in the last 3 weeks. to push us into help push us into finals, and those decisions will be made at the end of the year.
Let's celebrate his 250th this week.
100%. It's going to be magnificent. One of the great careers of AFL footy. A multiple All-Australian too. Speaking of All-Australians, here's Matthew Lloyd for the Virgin Australia All-Australian team, powered by Velocity Frequent Flyer.
Yeah, thanks, Hutchie. Here's last week's side, and you'll see the highlighted players that have gone out of it. It's Michael Hurley and Jack Revolt. So they had the two that's gone out. So, yeah, they are stiff, very stiff. Hurley's going to miss a second week today, not playing. And I'm going for Luke McFarlane just ahead of Daniel Talia for that second spot as a key defender. And Jake Stringer kicked his 40th goal. He's replaced Jack Revolt yesterday over the weekend. But Lance Franklin is a lucky boy. Jeremy Cameron has an opportunity today, Hutchie, to try and knock him off if he can have a good game against the Bombers.
And Dangerfield just on the bench, not in the best 18 at the moment?
I thought his first half, Hutchie, wasn't as good as his second half of the year, so that's why he's sitting there. But obviously there's a lot of players who are close. You know, Bernie Vince today gets another opportunity. So anyway, it's still up for grabs.
What do you reckon, Stevie?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Who's the Geelong player at the end of the year who could go the closest, do you think?
Look, it'd be hard to say who's leading our best and fairest. I think, you know, as we just spoke about, Motlop's had a really good month. Josh Caddy's had a pretty consistent season, and Joel Selwood's obviously been outstanding for the last month.
Harry Taylor couldn't get a look in?
I don't believe Harry's been anywhere as good this year as what he was in the past.
You're in love with Rory Laird, absolutely in love with him.
Oh, no, it was taking
Shaw's a bit stiff already.
The Giants are very stiff to have no players.
Who would you have as coach at the moment?
Luke Beveridge.
Okay, let us know your thoughts. Hashtag All Australian, of course. And for your chance to win the Velocity Footy Escape to Dublin, unbelievable 4 nights in Dublin to watch the Virgin Australian All Australian team play. VelocityFrequentFlyer.com/footy to enter an amazing chance to get to Dublin at the end of the season. Thanks, Lordo. Levi Casbolt still to come on the Sunday Footy Show. Clash.
They dominated most of the stats. I think Justin Lippy said after the game, it's very rare, or it's probably the story of the year that they had, as this actually, they had 130 more disposals, 130 more uncontested positions, and 10 more inside 50s, Lordo, but still lost the game, and that's probably an indication of the Lions' year. They haven't had the skill and the class, and they were missing a few players in Beams and a few others yesterday to be able to finish off and be really efficient with their footy. But it was a really entertaining game, as I said, with not a heap to play for, a bit of feeling in the game, a bit of spice in the Q clash, there always is. The first half was nice and even. There was only a point separating the teams at half-time, but the man that you mentioned, Hutchie, Tom Lynch, stood up again. He's probably the in-forward, Lord, I don't know what you think, the in-forward, key forward in the competition of the last month.
I'd agree with that. So it's just on the Lions then. It's good to see them kick 100 points. Because they've really struggled, but Luke McGuan's not going to be the answer long term. But you know, what do they do? They don't get Charlie Dixon. McStay, they've tried a number of different options.
McStay got drafted as a defender. Yeah. He's shown a bit of ability going forward, and Harris Andrews the same, has gone back. We know they're going to go to the draft. It looks like they're going to miss out on Dixon. Yeah. The number 1 or 2 pick will be a kid called Josh Shackey, who's a 200-centimetre key forward. So Greg Swan was quoted during the week as saying they're going to go to the draft. They're not going to worry about mature age recruits or free agents, so they're going to be patient and do it the hard way. But you're right, it was great for their fans more than anything to see them kick a few goals yesterday and kick a good score. And Christensen's been really good. He's probably after a slow start to the year, Jono, he's really warranted their, I guess, paying the reasonable bucks for him and getting him across.
Yeah, I think he had a fair setback with his back in the pre-season. He didn't do a lot of the work, and look, we know he's a talented player, and with that fitness, he has been playing some pretty good footy.
You don't see too many sprays in the AFL anymore, and I thought Rocket just blew the hair back of a great one. Have a look at him here, first of all, at quarter time. This is old-fashioned stuff. This is from the 80s. This is what the Rocket used to love, but it gets better. He then takes him into the rooms at half-time and gives one of the great sprays of all time. Not 1, not 2, but he goes back 3 times. This one's just really dragging out now.
Come on, Eddie.
Come on, get to the point.
Come on, Ed.
Look at the message.
Here's the one. It's not even the one yet. He's in the coach's box yet. All right, here we go. This is the one. He goes back a couple of times in the change rooms. That doesn't happen anymore, does it, Stevie?
No, Brian Lake's not on the end of that, is he? He used to cop a few of those. But no, you don't get a lot of those. The young players don't seem to respond to too much hard criticism, but
Overlay went for
Rocket
it,
doesn't mind doing it.
And what's he so angry? What was he so angry about?
Oh, he said after the game, he just thought
overlay
they were mucking around with it a bit. They had a lapse of about 10 minutes there in the second quarter where they had control but let the Lions back in it and went to the half-time break, scores level. So, but I reckon the message is starting to get through for Rocket. I reckon they're improving. They're finishing the season really well, and they'll hit the pre-season with excitement. Have we done the votes yet?
No, because the Nationals still going with his little ripping form and looks destined to be the next captain of the Suns. Sam Jacobs of the Crows was dominant. He's next on the Sunday Footy Show. For home timber and hardware, go where...
Do with it, but the best man on the ground joins us live from Adelaide, Sam Jacobs, the ruckman who absolutely dominated the other night, mate. It must have been a great feeling to beat them considering the form that Richmond have been in.
Yeah, you're spot on, mate. It was obviously, we knew it was going to be a massive challenge. On Friday night footy as well, we don't get many opportunities to play at that time slot, so it was important for us to play well as a team and also for our season.
They're a really good clearance side, Richmond. Big Van Marriott, Sean Hampson came back into the side. They were 8-1 up early in the clearances, ended up beating them 49-28. So apart from the first half of the first quarter, it was a clear domination by you guys in the midfield.
Yeah, obviously, we know they're a great team at around stoppage, and also myself, I had my hands full with Van and Shawnee Hampson, but they're both former teammates, and I feel I know their games pretty well, and it was good to be able to get on top of them. Like after you said, a bit of a poor start.
Yeah, Brandy and I were there, Sam, and we believe you should have won by 10 goals. That's how big a difference there was in this game, and it all started with yourself at the clearances. Ivan Maric had a great year, but you just took him to the cleaners, and it was 25 more clearances, about 35 more inside 50s. Did you sort of hunt them after their win they had the week before against Hawthorn?
Yeah, we did. We were coming off a poor performance against Sydney the week before, and we didn't get the job done around stoppages ourselves, so it was an important game for us to respond. And also with the way they played the week before with their uncontested marks, we knew we had to slow that down, and fortunately we were able to, and we were able to force them to bail out as well.
Sam, Scotty Thompson has had another magnificent year. I think there's a few sort of writing him off towards the start of the year, saying that you need to start playing some of these young guys, but 30 possessions, 10 tackles again the other night. He just keeps on keeping on, doesn't he?
Mate, he's absolutely brilliant, Tomo. Even for myself, he's really demanding, and he's great. Like you said, he's a tackling machine, and he's a bloke who really looks after himself. So I don't think there's any issue with him going on next year, and the way he prepares himself, I don't think he should limit himself to that.
You couldn't quite put the Tigers away the other night, and everybody expected them to come back at some stage and hurt you on the scoreboard, but 25 tackles inside 50-12, that was the way you kept the ball inside your half, and obviously Eddie Betts and Charlie Cameron down there were a huge part of that.
Yeah, you're spot on, Brownie. We're able to, I guess, winning centre bounce especially enables us to get the ball deep into the forward line, and even though our forwards at times didn't convert, we were able to really dominate the game and play the game in our half. We didn't probably feel like we were really on top until probably the 20-minute mark of the last quarter, which really, and it should have been probably game over a lot earlier than that.
Rory Laird is in Matthew Lloyd's All-Australian team at the moment. Do you think that's the right spot for him? Has he done enough to be there?
I'd like to think so, mate. Matty Yench is all over Laird. He keeps pumping him up on Twitter, so I'd love to see Lairdy get the nod, but he's been fantastic for us this year, and the way he mops up in defence has been first class this year.
And just when the camera crew rocked up this morning, you thought you just put yourself in a couple of snaps in front of yourself there behind you. You thought you get a bit of a double prong.
I was always a bit nervous when they come round home with the camera crew, but that's my missus' work, so I'll leave that one to her.
It's a very nice tribute to the family in the background.
Hey, there was a bit of confusion a couple of weeks ago with the ruckman and the amount of free kicks being paid. Have you got a clear understanding now of what the rules are, what you can and can't do, or is still a bit of confusion?
Yeah, to be totally honest, you're probably not 100% confident on things get called. I don't know whether it was just that round, whether they started, picking a few free kicks out to, I don't know, maybe get some more separation between ruckman, but it has been a point of interest, especially for myself, and some of those free kicks against Sean McKernan, I was a bit unsure what they were for, but all you can do is keep doing what you're best and keep doing what we train over here, and hopefully we get the result.
Hey Sam, I had tears rolling down my eyes watching the West Coast Eagles match, seeing you walk off the ground with your teammates, Paddy Dangerfield, and the toll that the death of Phil Walsh has taken on you and your teammates. How have you been emotionally over the last month? Because it's just something you could never have expected could happen to your senior coach.
No, exactly right. It's obviously a really tough time, and if there's anything good to come out of it, I guess we're a part of a footy club, and you've got 48 mates you go to training with every day, and we've had amazing support not only from everyone here in SA but all around Australia, and it's really galvanising us as a group. The West Coast game wasn't about the results, just about getting out there and getting back into footy, and can't underestimate how important the 3-point win against Port Adelaide was the next week, just to get back on the horse and get a result. So, I feel it's, like I said before, it's bringing us closer as a group, and hopefully we can push on and really, push into September and get something out of the year.
And Sam, Tex had the better of Alex Rance for most of the night, or just about all of the night. He probably didn't make the most of his opportunities, but you just sense that he loves the big moments, and that's what you want from your captain.
Yeah, absolutely, Stevie. Rance is obviously having a fantastic year, and Tex loves the bodywork, and I haven't seen him, anyone probably move Rance like Tex did the other night, and if he's able to get his kicking right, he's probably a 50-55 goal a year already player, but he hasn't been able to kick the goals, that probably at times early in the year. So hopefully he can do that, but he's always reliable when someone needs to stand up.
If you lose Paddy Dangerfield, which seems in the eyes of many to be inevitable, can you replace him? Your midfield seems really heavily built on the combination between the two of you.
Yeah, we do. We have a great relationship, me and Paddy, and hopefully that, maybe even helps him to stay, hopefully. But, Danger's been fantastic in the way he's, conducted himself. And, through the tough time we had, he was a real standout leader. So he's been a big part of, I guess, us as a group being nice and tight. But, we've also got Brad Crouch, who's had a tough year injury-wise as well. And, hopefully, we can hold on to Danger and couple Crouchy with him would be another new recruit. So hopefully he can stick with us and we can have some exciting times ahead.
Can have a look at the vote source from the other night, Friday night. It was a big win for you guys, and you got the 9 votes, best man on the ground.
You're learning,
the bloke you spoke about then, Paddy Dangerfield, 8. Taylor Walker was fantastic, and Rory Sloane, I thought he got it started in the first quarter with 12 disposals.
Thanks for joining us, Big Sauce, and good luck for the run for the finals.
No worries, boys. Thanks for having me.
Sam Jacobs there joining us from Adelaide at home with his happy snaps in the background.
Very happy.
Yeah, very
nice
romantic type.
Nice guy.
Right, the Lou Richards medal is hotting up for the Isuzu D-Max. This is a leaderboard. And look at that. Hanbury's gone past 5. Mitchell, Goldstein and Gaff. And for those, or level, those, is it?
Yeah,
Can't read it.
Yeah, 86 and 86.
And for those out there who
would be 87 if you went past him.
Did he get votes last night?
No. I don't know how that's happened. Oh, it's happened. Hanbury 5, Mitchell, Goldstein and Gaff. Got votes last week, Luke, after we'd gone to air, of course. Those 5 in the box seat, just straighten up. For the brand new Isuzu D-Max Utes for a junior AFL club of their choice. Plus, the winner takes home $20,000 cash and the Isuzu D-Max Utes for a junior club of their choice. All thanks to the Isuzu D-Max Ute. Time for the Sunday agenda with the man who rolls with Prime Ministers, Damien Barrett.
Hutchie, with at least 2 clubs continuing a search for a senior coach, 2 potential candidates spoke publicly this weekend about their respective situations. Brett Ratton and John Worsfold.
Do you still have that burning desire to step back into a senior role?
Yeah, I do. It depends on opportunity, and I'll just sort of wait and see what happens.
I've been pretty busy. I'm working with a couple of charity organisations that I'm enjoying doing, and some media work in Perth. So I've been fairly busy enjoying that. My expectation was that's something I want to grow next year.
So you won't be in a club?
I don't think so, no.
Now, Hutchie, I reckon that's about the 13th time, at least that I know of, that John Worsfold said he won't be coaching next year. Do you believe him yet?
Oh, I don't think it's convincing yet, is it? Like, if the right role came up and the right job, I think he'd take it, don't you?
Yep.
Is the better role for him, Carlton or Adelaide?
Adelaide would be a great job to get.
Yep. Would he be equipped to be a senior coach, ready to go again straight away?
What's he had, 2 years off?
Yep.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yep.
Yeah, well, the
Refreshed.
combination they've got at the moment with Camporelli and Worside looks a great one.
He's had an
He didn't have the worst record going around at Carlton, did he?
No.
No, he didn't.
So he could coach.
Yeah, Ratton will be interesting too, wanting to coach again. Good story, Damien. Is it one more?
That's it. No, just the North Melbourne game about to start, and the subs there, Alex Neil-Bullen for the D's and Aaron Mallett for the Roos.
Thanks very much, Damien. Damien Barrett, the multiple quill-winning journalist here on the Nine Network. Plenty more to come on your Sunday Footy Show. Footy Classified is back tomorrow night, 10 p.m. It'll be on for young and old there too. Right after House Husbands, Matthew Lloyd gets 2 bites of the cherry. He's a house husband by day. He gets to watch it before we come on, and then Footy Classified at 10:10 on Monday night on the all-conquering Nine Network. Very much looking forward to it. Speaking of Matthew Lloyd, he wrote a column today about the need to rebuild at Essendon. They are, of course, in a football review, Lordo. It's before their game today. It's changing times at Essendon.
Yeah, when you win 5 games, Hutchie, obviously they're going to look at reviewing the list. I think they haven't won a final now for 11 seasons in a row, which just isn't good enough, Bally. So I reckon up to 10 changes maybe. I looked at the team. Need a ruckman desperately. The midfield depth just isn't good enough, so they lack speed, and also 2 crumbing forward, which they lack as well.
Is that all? Yeah.
So
do they go to the draft or will they trade?
No, the draft.
Been talking about Leuenberger to fill the.
Yeah, I think they
ruck
will
spot.
look to get a ruckman in from another club, but yeah, they've got to go to the draft for the next 2 or 3 years and get as many early picks as possible.
Do you think, aside from changing their list, they'll change their recruiting team as part of this review?
I'm not sure about that, Hutchie, but I think all departments will be reviewed right throughout this period.
And what about you? Speaking of reviews, will you be there next year?
I'm not sure. I'll weigh all that up at the end of the year.
Righto. Sportsbet.com.au. Christian Jansen, welcome.
Yeah, thanks very much, Archie. What a weekend of footy we've had. Let's see how the rest of the round will pan out this afternoon. North Melbourne pretty short, $1.31 in their match against the Demons, who are pretty much friendless in betting. Now, we know the Roos are short, but not as short as the GWS Giants' opponent today, because if you look at that, $1.24 for them and $4.20 for the Bombers, who've had a horrendous year, haven't they? And I reckon $1.50 is a good price for the Dockers. Top of the ladder, of course, up against the Saints, who you could have got $3.90 for earlier in the week. Now, every match for the rest of the regular season. We'll give you a cash back if your team leads at any break and gets done and dusted. That's your first head-to-head bet, up to $100. And in the St Kilda Freo game, our Ball Magnet special. It's Jack Stephen and David Armitage to combine for 60 or more touches. $7 we'll give you for that one. Download the app today. Please gamble responsibly. The Ball Magnet special. What about the magnets we've got on the panel? The original St Kilda Ball Magnet in Luke Ball, the Chick Magnet in Lloyd Owen. I thought Billy was in. Billy and I were going to be the Bald Magnets, and Hutchie, you're somewhere in between, mate.
Thanks, Christian. Nice stint on the Sunday Footy Show.
I thought he was going to go straight to that, but he's just finished.
Yeah, no, he did. He's doing beautifully. Big go, the Saints today too. Gee, they've been a big go.
Yeah, well, the last 2 times I know the Free haven't brought their best team over. They've beaten them the last 2 games, so big chance.
Good luck in game 200. We'll be excited for you.
250.
250, sorry. Huge stage 2 against the Hawks. Should be magnificent. Appreciate you sitting in today, Stevie J. Enjoy your afternoon. Future Stars up next in Melbourne. We'll see you tomorrow night on Class and next Sunday on the Sunday Footy Show.